Ever wonder what it's like winding down a term in the White House following Election Day? With just over 2 months left in her work as Deputy Director of Communications for President Obama, Liz Allen talks about it, the experiences, the memories, her short still-to-do list, and her look towards the future.
I mentioned the letters that the president gets. I think that has been one of my favorite parts of the job and one of the most encouraging. He gets thousands of letters a week, but every day there are 10 letters chosen for him to read every night from people across the country at his direction. We have an Office of Presidential Correspondence. Amazing work they do to siphon through all of the mail we get and respond to the mail we get and to choose which letters he sees. And they are on a variety of topics from a variety of people with a variety of viewpoints. Some letters are very critical of the president. Some letters are very supportive. And a lot of letters are just people sharing their stories because they have no other outlet. And it is incredibly powerful to read these people's stories. And that is what gives us our sense of purpose to keep going and to overcome any discouragement we may have based on other factors and to keep doing good. It's where he derives a lot of his encouragement and his purpose, and it's where we do as well. And nothing's ever redacted or anything like that. It's a privilege, to be honest. It feels like these people give us a window into their lives and trust us with the information they're giving us, trust him with the information they're giving him. Those things are very powerful.
How much time in the 3 years you've been with the Obama administration have you actually spent with the president?
You know, a lot of my time spent with the president is based on staffing him for interviews or going on some of his trips. And so we've had some fun times together. We did his Leonardo DiCaprio interview or his driver on the South Lawn with Jerry Seinfeld. Some of the memorable trips we've taken included our trip to Vietnam, where we filmed an episode with Anthony Bourdain, and we went to Japan, and being with him as the first U.S. president to visit Hiroshima after the atomic bomb was dropped. It was an incredibly powerful and symbolic experience. So I wouldn't quantify it as much as I would think about it in terms of some of those moments that stick with me more than anything.
How has this job changed you?
Whew, good question. I don't know that this job has changed who I am. I actually think I'm a pretty similar person to who I was when I was that 9th grader starting at a new high school. I think that it has made me more hopeful than less, and I'm grateful for that. I think that this job has also, and when I say this job, I would refer to the totality of my time at the White House with both the president and the vice president. I strongly believe that there is so much more good than bad out there based on our experience, and that is hopeful.
When you leave this White House, where are you going to take the wisdom and the knowledge that you've been privy to and the positive things that can result from the work that's done in that White House? Do you feel any sense of responsibility to share that or to disseminate that in any way?
I feel a sense of responsibility to live that. And separate from any job I will ever have, I feel responsible for embodying the good that I believe is out there. It means a lot to me to try to live this idea that you should represent hope and positivity and the good that is out there, while also being realistic about any work that may need to still be done. But frankly, it all harkens back to that vice president quote, which is everyone is your equal and you are equal to everyone. And if you sort of boil it down that way, you know, that would take care of a lot.
So you have 2 months left? Do you go to work each day trying to hang on? Because really it's coming to an end?
It's coming to an end.
Yeah.
I'm doing my best to try to live in the moment
Be
and to appreciate
present.
the moment
Yeah.
and to make sure that we're doing some of the things that once we leave we'll never be able to do. We've had the benefit of some of our colleagues from the Clinton administration impart some of their wisdom on those of us that have stayed late into the Obama administration, and everyone says to a T, do as much as you can now, because when you don't have that pass anymore and you're outside the gate again, you realize that you should have taken more advantage of some of the things available to you. I've been lucky and have tried to make sure that my family all had chances to be, you know, in and around the White House, and my friends like to bring their toddlers for tours, and you know, that's important to me. It's important to me to be the link to the people's house, as the First Lady likes to say. So we're trying to have some fun in the last few months and do some of those things, besides planning for our futures, whatever they may bring.
Do you have any idea?
You know, I do not. I am starting again a job search in earnest. As I mentioned before, everything is pretty cyclical around here. I think one of the challenges for a lot of us is to think about the right fit. And you mentioned this, how do you translate this experience into something you do after that is still purposeful? You know, public service is something that you feel called to do. I feel a call to public service. When you talked about some of the divisive rhetoric of this campaign season, I think one of the unfortunate parts about it is that the virtue of public service has been diminished. And so whatever jobs may be in my future, there's years to come, we will see. But I hope to at least be contributing to a greater good.
Hard to leave?
Hard to leave, but when you know that it's an eventuality, you appreciate the system and the cycle, and you can't change it, and so that is what it is. And so no use dwelling on the end being near, and I think just trying to enjoy it and then look for an opportunity afterwards is, most of us are sort of objective in that way about it.
Is your bedroom still available?
And my parents,
Yeah.
Certainly, although I think I'll probably stick to my apartment in DC at this point.
You've advanced. It's an evolution.
Yes, we have
That's
an
a good
apartment.
thing.
This is progress. Yes, exactly.
Most memorable moment in the White House?
You know, I think one of my most memorable moments in the White House proper was probably the first time I ever briefed the president in the Oval Office. That sticks out as a moment at the White House, certainly. I think in terms of my White House experience, there's a few others that stick out. Certainly, the first time I visited Afghanistan with the vice president sticks out, and helicoptering to a remote outpost and visiting service members is something I'll never forget. Introducing my family to the vice president was something that I'll never forget. That has meant a lot. So those are some of the few.
Any one thing that's kind of on your list of before I leave, I'm going to make sure I
Introduce my brother to the president. He's the final member of my family that will mean a lot, especially since he's in the military. That's my must-do, and it's on the book, so I'm very happy about that. I think one more, you know, this is a small thing, but I did this on my last day at the White House in 2013, and I'll probably do it this time too, is to do a full lap around the complex and to walk through the White House one last time.
Can you walk wherever you want within the public, like not in their house, in their domestic part?
Sure. Mostly. There are various levels of access, and there are certainly areas where staff can't go without permission, and so it wouldn't be that. But we're able to walk through the public parts of the White House and around most of the 18 acres, as we like to call them.
If you had to use one word to sum up your White House experience, what would that word be?
Gratitude.